And we're live.
Okay. All right. Naughty children spend Christmas on Krampus Island. The bad boys and girls know that is where they'll go. Naughty children spend Christmas on Krampus Island, while the good girls and boys get toys and play in the snow. And if you stay up late, like the naughty kids do, then Krampus will bust in and won't leave till he has snatched you. If you ever spend Christmas on Krampus Island, you'll regret your stay, 'cause every day old Krampus will beat you. And if you stay up late, like the naughty kids do, then Krampus will bust in and won't leave till he has snatched you. If you want to spend Christmas on Krampus Island, you'll regret your fate, 'cause every day old Krampus will beat you. You'll regret your fate, 'cause every day old Krampus will beat you.
Woo!
Guys,
Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne and Ordo. That was beautiful.
Thank you very much.
thanks.
Krampus liked it.
Yeah.
That's super fun.
That's awesome. I love the Krampus hand. So Krampus has hooves. Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
Of course.
Shall we open it? You ready for the open?
Yep.
All right.
Roll.
Welcome to a very special. Is it on me? Yeah. The camera.
Just talking, it'll be on you.
All right. Welcome to a very special Christmas Krampus edition of Strange Tales Weekly. I'm your host, Jess, and joining me tonight is my co-host, Eric and Joe, and a special guest, the Courtesan and the Cabin Boy, Suzanne and Ordo, and the Northern Illinois Krampus. Yay! How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good. Doing good.
So who wants to start this party?
Let
Nobody.
everybody jump. Come on.
All right. So do we want to open a little bit with the Krampus? Let's talk a little bit to Andy the Krampus, the Northern Illinois Krampus. We're going to talk a little bit about, maybe a little bit about Krampus lore, how Andy became a Krampus, and a little bit more about that. And then we're going to hop over and start talking to Suzanne and Ordo about their new Krampus album.
And here's some more music.
Yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun stuff planned for you guys tonight. So, Andy, do you want to tell us first, like, how did you get into being into Krampus and the lore and kind of, and then becoming one? There, thank you.
Wow, you could fill volumes with that. Very descriptive, very evocative.
Okay, since we're going to be PG, you know, I do this when we do appearances because a lot of kids do get scared. So we want to make sure that they realize that this is somewhat make-believe. So I'll go ahead and lift the mask and so forth like I have for you tonight. How did I get involved in Krampus? Let's see. Probably about 3-4 years ago, I stumbled upon Krampus. Thought it was extremely intriguing. I do like odd things, different things from the past, eclectic, supernatural, and so forth. Then approximately, I don't know, a year later, we were at the Chris Kindle Market downtown Chicago, and lo and behold, they actually had a Krampus booth.
Oh, wow.
It was interesting. Never thought you would see something like that here in Chicago. Lo and behold, at Christmas, I got this actual mask as a Christmas gift. From there, I have not turned back. It's just taken off ever since. The rest of the costume is all handmade. It's real fur. With my hand, if you would. Authentic birch switch. You'll notice in the background I have my sack for children, my basket. It's just been evolving ever since. So that's pretty much how I became involved in Krampus.
That's awesome. So are kids often frightened during your appearances?
Believe it or not, it's a very random mix. I mean, I want to really start early this year and kind of have like a Krampus in July, if you would. Get people started to thinking about it, because like I think in your little promo earlier today on YouTube, it's really becoming popular. It's really becoming to the forefront. I got a list of events and appearances that I've been at. I've done the Bristol Renaissance Fair for the past 2 years on different themed weekends. Actually won the costume contest twice. One year was actually the grand prize. It is interesting, you know, you go there and it's like 95 degrees out and you're dressed in
Yeah.
a suit. But I prepare. I have a cooling vest and so forth. So my wife thinks I'm nuts, as do other people. But yeah, no, it's huge. It's really come to the forefront. We've done events locally, from the local 4th of July parades to participating with other organizations who I'll probably give a shout out or mention to a little bit later. So,
are you mostly around Chicago? How far out do you end up going with this?
I have gone as far as Milwaukee.
Okay.
Milwaukee, there's a large Krampus group. This is only their 2nd year. I went to a Krampus build day last year in Milwaukee, and after we got started up there and we were working on costumes and ideas and so forth, they did their Krampus knock on December 5th. This year they did it on December 5th too. I actually cut my vacation short just to come to that. And we probably had at least 75 Krampus. There were some other, if you want to say Christmas oddities there. There's Welsh traditions, witch traditions, and so forth that participated. We probably had at least 75 participants and over 1,500 spectators.
Oh, wow.
Bavarian Brauhaus outside of Milwaukee in Glendale, Wisconsin. It was huge. It was really, really huge.
Awesome. Do they have cheese curds?
They had everything. They had vendors. They had the bar. They even had a Krampus build for children. It was,
wow.
You know, it was I counted, I think, 10 or 15 tables with 10 seats. And when I peeked in there, because we had our dressing room off to the side, every single seat was filled with children. It was really, really big. Well received.
Awesome.
So, you know, when you ask if they're scared, yeah, you get a few. But I'll dress up for Halloween, sit outside of my front porch here. You know, we have a house that's over 100 years old, so it's very cool. And, you know, some of the kids, they'll laugh at you. They'll think, oh, that's funny. He's not real. And then there are the few that do get somewhat scared. But again, you kind of reel them in a little bit and don't threaten to throw them in the sack or the basket, and they kind of move on. So
I gave my son a preview of the Krampus video, and he kept asking me a ton of questions about it. Like, I could tell he was a little bit frightened by it, so I talked it down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But
well,
yeah,
thing like you said in the video, it is ancient folklore, but there isn't a lot of history on it. There isn't a lot of documentation. So yes, I do exist, Krampus. I do exist. I'm here. But you know, yeah, okay. So maybe we do possibly eat children. We take them to the underworld, things to that effect. But those are really unfounded allegations at this point, and I will.
Saying you don't take them to an island paradise.
Obviously not. No. Yeah. Unless it's like 1,000 degrees, and never mind.
Tropical.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
That actually sounds kind of nice, given the Chicago winters.
I can't tell you. I don't know. It's like it was like 70 today.
Yeah, I miss LA.
Sorry.
If it was snowing, I would have set the setup outside for you. So
I don't complain about weather right now. It's been like 50 degrees here.
Yes, I will definitely go along with that. Although last weekend we did an event in Rosemont, and again, I'll make some mention of some of the counterparts in our Krampus network, if you would. And it was huge. It was really huge. We did the Hofbrau House in Rosemont, and even at this time of year, you're inside. After 2-3 hours, you're pretty much wringing wet playing the Krampus. So,
like you mentioned how you were at the local Renaissance Fair, and we've performed at various fairs in the middle of July. I mean, my Ren Fair costume is wool slacks and a corduroy doublet. Hers is
It's actually a wool blend.
Oh yeah, a wool blend of an Italian gown, and so but then you're walking around in fur and leather and bells.
And hooves.
Yeah, and hooves. Yes.
And hooves. Yeah. We're crazy. No, we've seen crazier.
I don't mind the heat, but I'm prepared. You buy cooling vests online. You bring a bunch of ice packs. You pack them in there. I'm good for a couple hours. It's just the reaction again, because this is really becoming, I guess you could almost say, mainstream nowadays.
Yeah.
So what are the foot hooves like?
What's that?
What are your foot hooves like?
I don't have foot hooves.
Okay.
I'm working on them. But even if you start to look back at some of the authenticity of it, even some of the Krampus costumers in Austria or Germany, they say they don't do hooves, feet, really. So
Okay.
I know it's supposed to be half man, half goat, and so forth. Well, you know what? I'll go with the horns, and the hooved hands. I just don't want to trip over anything. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, and interestingly enough, in the lore that I read specifically for when we were developing the songs for the Krampus album, it is described that, like in some of the older tellings of it, is that he has one foot that is like the claw of a bear and another foot that is like a human foot. So, like, really old school Krampus don't have hooves for feet.
They have bare feet?
One's a bare foot and the other is a just foot, like
normal man foot.
A normal man foot and a bare foot.
That's got to make for an awkward walk.
Yeah, he's probably like.
Why don't you show us?
We'll probably make costuming easy for you. You only just have to decorate one foot.
Well, and actually, it's like if you want to take a look, the printout from what we had from our album, the first like limited edition, the image here has one hoof and one regular foot.
And then that's a public domain.
Yeah, that's a public domain image that's been out there forever.
You can Google that and find it.
Yeah.
And again, there's so many variations, and we talk about that when we perform as Krampus or as artists. Some costumes are more cartoony or comical, if you would. Some are like mine, and this is actually hand-carved wood from Austria with authentic horns.
Oh.
Some do have tongues showing, you'll see in some of the pictures that they'll have tongues. Some Krampus have tails. There really is no set criteria, if you would. When nothing is frowned upon, you make it what you want it to be. Some of them actually have like a red cape, similar to indicative of like a St. Nicholas costume, if you would, so forth. So there's tons of different variations. Everybody is truly unique in their own Krampus.
That was one of the things that made it tough writing that video, was that there's not a whole lot of solid information out there.
No, we spent some time. Me and Eric spent some time just really digging and trying to find as much as we could. We even started going to like German websites and just translating them to try to read more.
Yep.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that is just the case. The lore that is common to everything is exceptionally high level. Some of the things that I found made references to how, not unlike Christmas is co-opting a pagan holiday for Christianity, that Krampus himself is actually co-opting a demon creature from the pagan religions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of feel like the Krampus is what, some hundreds of years old right now. I kind of feel like 100 years from now there'll probably be more lore about the Krampus than there's been in the last few hundred, just because nowadays we make movies and books about things. And
they're gonna use our video here with the Krampus. And the Cabin Boy and the Courtesan, they're gonna be like, "That's Krampus."
Late 1400s is when it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Late 1400s, early 1500s, and then like you were kind of saying about the paganism, so forth. Yeah, they kind of banned it in the 20s and 30s. The Catholic Church and stuff, because hey, you got horns, you're the demon, you're the devil, this and that. Which hey, don't we all want to be a little bit bad? And then I think
people like you hauling us away.
Right?
And then I think in the 50s, they kind of, relaxed and said, okay, maybe he isn't really real. So,
right. Well, and the thing is, if you think about it, in Christianity, in England, they banned Christmas at one point because it wasn't actually celebrating the birth of Christ.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's actually, you take a look back, there was a period of time there where they banned traditional Christmas celebrations because they were too close to the pagan rituals, and it was taking the focus off of the birth of Christ.
I mean, one of the Christmas traditions used to be telling ghost stories and tales. Like,
although Christmas used to sound so cool.
Yeah, well, that's
we look at Christmas. We celebrate Christmas. What 24th is Christmas Eve. 25th, it's a whole religious thing. But yeah, again, St. Nicholas Day is December 5th, December 6th. So St. Nicholas predates Santa. The jolly dude with the big stomach and bringing you gifts and stuff. So yeah, Krampus was St. Nicholas' counterpart. And they basically would travel together. St. Nicholas would be first, and Krampus would be back behind him. And if you were bad, well, hey, you didn't get anything, and you were just kind of shoved to the back of the line. And people like me, or individuals like me, took care of you. That's all. So,
unless you set up that schnapps, right?
Well, I won't tell you what I got in my glass. So,
see, Krampus is just drink schnapps. I knew it.
No, it's better to know that Krampus is bribable. It's like we bribed Santa Claus with cookies and milk.
Right? And then you put a little glass of schnapps out, or maybe a bigger glass of schnapps.
If Krampus is too drunk, he can't haul you off. Is that it?
That's the trick, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I can read this question. Is there any correlation between the Krampus and coal? Says our viewer, Chris.
I've heard stories that yes, if you were bad, well, that was probably one of the more nicer things that Krampus might do is leave you coal instead of St. Nicholas leaving you candy or treats or gifts or something. Because if I left you coal, at least you were spared from me taking you and taking you to the underworld with myself.
It sounds like a better deal to get coal than to be dragged into the underworld.
Yeah, especially back in the day when they probably used it to, heat their homes and stuff.
Yeah, there was some value to that, right?
Wait, so back then it was a good thing?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, but if you're a kid, you don't want what mom and dad are going to burn in the fireplace to be your only gift for the year.
Yeah, that hasn't changed.
I mean,
You want what my parents get? Forget that, you know.
Screw the coal.
Mm-hmm.
so you said, so are you're into just historical oddities? Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't want to go out on a limb and say I was never running with the ordinary pack, but yeah, you know, anything older, eclectic. I mean, we're live, you know, we're on the webcam here, but if I was to pan this room, we have anything from Mayan art painted on leather to I don't even know what you want to call him. He's like a devil sculpture, wooden carved thing from a Polish artist. We have skull stuff throughout the house. We traveled Mexico once a year. You know, we leave our Christmas car lit up every year, all year round. The tree comes down, but you know, certain things. But yeah, I mean, just different things, different oddities. You know, both my wife and myself, we're into things like that. That's kind of what brought us together. And while I'm mentioning her, she does dress up in a full St. Nicholas costume on occasion.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
So she's done parades. Again, maybe a little bit later, I'll mention some of the events we've been at and so forth. But she's been extremely supportive. Hey, she got me the mask, so you know, she had to know what she was getting into.
What do you think it was about the Krampus that really resonated with you?
Just that it's unique. You know, it's not something that everybody's seen, everybody has. And you know what? Hey, Santa's cool, but you know what? There's a ton of Santas, and they all look the same. Krampus is truly unique. He's truly original. You know, from the mask, the costume. I mean, so a lot of the functions and events that I go to, people have handmade costumes. They'll be in one color. They'll be black. They'll be fur. Some will have the tongue, like I said. Some will have light up eyes and so forth. Everybody's unique in themselves, but every single place I go, everybody tells me your costume is so unique because it is. It's a patchwork, and it is all 100% real. Furs, so forth, even down to the tail and the hooves and so forth, where that's kind of my depiction of Krampus. You know, if you were a Krampus and you did live in the woods in the middle of Austria or Germany, you wouldn't be able to just go to the fabric store and whip yourself up a coat. You know, you'd be scrounging around looking for anything you possibly could find, and you make it happen. So that's basically what we did here.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. It's like cosplaying as a Krampus. You got to make the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The uniqueness lends it to itself because Krampus doesn't have his own Christmas special yet.
Yeah. Keyword.
Yeah.
You know, again, like I said, the switch is all handmade. The hooves are made. The belt that I wear, it's all handmade leather. Made that all myself.
Wow.
You know, solid leather, belt.
Great.
Watch out, Al.
You're not sneaking up on anybody.
No. Well, that adds to the fear. No.
We Krampus do believe in giving fair warning.
Doesn't sound like you have much choice.
Yeah. So.
That's awesome.
Sorry, we had the chat room. They asked about if anybody's seen the movie, but I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We will talk about the movie.
Oh, there's an American Dad.
Yes, there's also yeah. I will watch that too. I didn't know that. Did you guys know there was an American Dad Krampus episode?
No.
Yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. No.
My mother-in-law talks about it explicitly. She's a huge American Dad fan. So the first thing she said was, "Oh my God, have you seen the American Dad episode with Krampus?" So yes.
When did that come out?
I want to say 2 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I'm sure it's searchable on the internet. Definitely.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that later. I didn't realize there was a Krampus episode.
Let's put that on my holiday viewing this weekend.
this Krampus episode. What else? Did you all, everybody get a chance to watch Eric's Krampus piece?
His promo today?
Yes.
Yes, I watched it twice. It was awesome.
Awesome, right? Oh, Chuck saying maybe 3 years ago on the American Dad episode.
He says it was great. We had two. It was great.
Yeah, a lot of people liked it. I guess I feel like I missed out there because I feel like I thought I watched all American Dads. But let's get back to Krampus and less American Dad.
Guess I know what you're doing later.
Right.
We're gonna have to find that.
Oh, thank you for subscribing. Did you say subbed or stubbed? Subbed, subscribed. All right. So let's talk to we have been talking to Suzanne and Ordo, but shall we talk a little bit? If you guys joined us late, you did miss Suzanne and Ordo. They're the Courtesan and the Cabin Boy. They just released a new album last week. Krampus Carols. Yes. Krampus, get in my sack. Right?
Let's hear another song.
Yes, I think it's about time.
The song we're going to do for you is the one that we usually do when we're introducing people to Krampus. You know, it's very much one of these things that's like, so, have you ever heard of Krampus? Why, no, I have not. Well, then. Well, you know Santa and Jack Frost and Frosty the Snowman, reindeers and elves, Mrs. Claus and that Scrooge man. But do you recall the most scary creature of all? Krampus, the Christmas monster, had a large bulging sack. And if you ever saw it, it would be upon his back. All of the naughty children would scream as they were packed inside. They couldn't escape old Krampus, no matter how they tried to hide. Then one very bratty year, Santa came to say, Krampus, with your sack so stuffed, now my job won't be so tough. And all the parents told him, as they hoisted up his sack, Krampus, the Christmas monster, we don't even want them back. We don't even want them back.
That was terrific.
That was wonderful.
So we just released our album, Krampus Get in Our Sack, on Bandcamp.
In my sack.
Oh, Krampus Get in My Sack. And we can, if you want, we can give you the URL to post a little bit later. But we're the Courtesan and the Cabin Boy.
I shared the link in the chat to the Facebook
yes,
page.
the Courtesan The Cabin Boy.bandcamp.com. Yeah, it's the Courtesan The Cabin Boy. If you look just Courtesan Cabin Boy, you're like, I can't find this.
There's a reason why you're the managing director and I'm the artistic coordinator.
Indeed.
You gotta know your role.
Yes. Yeah.
If I could just mention, with Suzanne and Ordo, that's basically how we met.
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
No, not in my sack. No. Although we did end up in. Never mind. Politically correct. But again, a lot of the events and appearances that I've done over the past few months. I did the Arts in the Dark parade downtown Chicago with a lot of artists, and that was really cool. Right downstate
there.
And so forth. Some of the photos on my website and so forth and Facebook have been taken by the photographers there. I always mention credits where credits are due. And we did Haunted Halstead.
Yes, that's how we actually met.
That's how we met.
Yeah, it was the end of the parade.
Yeah, myself,
and,
my wife and myself, we get there, we signed up because, Krampus does, need financing on occasion. So we signed up because, hey, you could win $500. Okay, great. So how many Krampus could there possibly be? So we get there and the person at the check-in tent is like, yeah, we already turned in the clipboard. I'm like,
Oh.
that kind of stinks. So I says, let's just blend in. Let's just blend in. We're just going to walk down anyway. So we just kind of milled in with the crowd, and we started walking down the street and did the parade. And a lot of people recognized us, obviously. We get to the end of the parade, and my wife's like, okay, let's go. We're going down the street. Okay, we're not too far from the car. We're walking down, and I hear, Krampus. Krampus. I'm like, okay, seriously? Krampus. And here Suzanne comes, I've been looking for a Krampus. I've been looking for a Krampus. I says, tell me more. And the rest is history. So it was a great opportunity, and I'm so glad we were there because this has just been a huge partnership. I'm so happy, so glad. And listening to their songs, the music, it's great. And everybody I mentioned to wants in. They're like, oh, I got to find out who they are. I got to get it. I got to get this. I got to get this. This is so cool. So from one artist to an artistic duo, hats off to you, or masks off to you. So.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, because we had, we recorded the majority of these tracks last year. We finished recording our tracks the end of August, and our producer, Aaron Ackerson, DJ Aaron Ackerson, he made everything sound amazing. What you heard just now is, what we typically do when we perform live. It's two voices, a mandolin and a violin, maybe on a good day, an egg shaker. But that's what we can do by ourselves.
Now, what Aaron did for us is we just asked him because we knew he does recording sessions with other groups. And so,
he records his own music as well.
Yes. He's also on Bandcamp. But when we asked him, like, hey, if you want to help us fill out the tracks or, lay down some rhythm or what have you, fill it out. Like, we asked him, like, we want this to be lush. We want it to be, like, for when there's a song that
as close to the originals as possible.
Unless there was a stylistic change that we wanted for. Yeah. And so one of the songs that we did, Krampus, 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 which is a parody of
I Have a Little Dreidel.
And so, like, again, just me and Suzanne singing, her on mandolin, but then, like, he's got a whole klezmer band in there, and like there's a clarinet in the background. You'd swear it was real, but no, that's him with a MIDI track, and it sounds almost like a real clarinet. Mm-hmm. And so all of the stuff that he added to all the backing tracks, to all of our songs that he added, it just turned comedy gold into comedy platinum. Mm-hmm. And so this is as much his album as it is ours.
Yeah. And it really does sound like any Christmas album you might buy. It's just about a Krampus. Like it's got a really good sound to it.
It's great. It's great. Everybody I've had listened to, because I've been telling people in my daily life, oh, I'm talking about Krampus and the Krampus album, and every song I play for them, they smile and they really enjoy it, and I just had to share that with you guys.
Oh, thank you. And actually, that's kind of the point of what we do, period. It's like our musical mission is to explore fun through music. That's it. That's our mission statement, tagline, the whole enchilada right there.
It's pretty broad, but it makes it easy for open interpretation.
Yes.
As long as we're having fun, we're doing it right.
Exactly. And a lot of this started just because I know Andy was talking about being in Milwaukee and how they've got a big Krampus presence there. A couple of friends of mine who I used to work with at the Bristol Renaissance Fair, they host a Krampus Nacht party and parade about every other year. And I had actually gotten an invitation to Ron and Susan Scott Fry's Krampus celebration. And while we were doing the Krampus parade around historic Brewer Hill neighborhood, where they literally have to like warn the neighbors and warn the cops that there's going to be a bunch of people out in costume ringing, clanging bells. There might be fire. Stuff like that.
There might be fire.
Child abductions.
Yeah. Yes. Walking around, bring out your children, things like that. Myself and another girl who I had performed with back when I was performing at the Bristol Renaissance Fair, Jill Fredrickson. she and I were walking together for the parade and just on the fly started making up lyrics to traditional Christmas carols, like "Oh, Krampus knocked, the stars are brightly shining," and we kind of look at each other. "Now is the hour to take children away." Yeah, that works. Okay, so we're just like wandering around the block, being obnoxious, and just like using our improv skill back and forth, making up lyrics and kind of singing a song like we planned it, which we did not. But we had so much fun doing that. It inspired me to actually create Krampus carols when the next Krampusnacht celebration was coming around.
And so by then, Suzanne and I had started seeing each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had, half a dozen songs written?
About, 7 songs.
And part of the Krampusnacht tradition is or the Kramp and St. Nicholas tradition is, you take your shoe and you stuff it with candy, little toys and goodies, kind of like stocking stuff.
Yeah, everybody puts their shoe out by the tree, and then you also bring little things to put into everybody's shoe.
And, that's where the tradition of stockings originates from.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we did is we made little Krampus carol books, and we stuffed those into the shoes, and we had a whole big Krampus sing-along.
Mm-hmm.
And during the parade, we led a whole sing-along around the block.
Yeah.
And then from there, we thought, we've got enough here for half an album. We just need to write 6 or 7 songs more. And, it's easy to make parody music to Christmas music. And that's basically where our album started.
Yeah. And the ideas keep coming. We actually have probably at least another solid between 5 to 7 songs in the hopper, in process. Different stages of the creative process. Some are fully written, some we just started. Many to tunes you would recognize as holiday favorites. So
what is the future of the Courtesan and the Cabin Boy? Is that more Krampus songs, or do you branch out to other topics?
Most of what we do is we perform at Renaissance fairs. We perform at
or at sci-fi conventions.
Yeah, at science fiction conventions.
Yeah.
But again, our mission statement: having fun through music. Actually, the parade, the Halloween parade that we marched in, where we met Andy, we were spitting fire. We were actually also fire performers.
Yeah, we weren't singing for that. Well, I was singing because I was playing. I was doing my fire fans and singing Whatever Lola Wants from Damn Yankees.
It's hot.
Literally hot.
I mean, our primary bailiwick is performing at Renaissance fairs, but we're actually also getting into other stage performing. One of the things that we've been trying to get into, plenty of Irish pubs in the Chicagoland area. We know plenty of Irish drinking songs.
Yeah.
Those also come in handy at Renaissance fairs.
Mm-hmm.
But then, during the winter, there really isn't much call for Ren Fair stuff because it's the middle of winter. So that's what we actually have our Chicago Street Performers licenses. And when we got them 2 years ago, we were at City Hall, right next to Daily Plaza, where the Chris Crindle Mart is. And so we got our performer licenses, and 10 minutes later, we were out
in Daily Plaza.
And we just started playing Christmas carols and some of our Krampus carols. And it was the perfect night, and we made $40 in an hour.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what it really is for us, is that we just want to have the ability to perform. Whether we're doing serious music or we're doing other parodies that we've written, because we've written parodies to things other than holiday music as well. But for us, it's really a matter of being able to say, hey, this kind of makes me go, woo, let's do this. And that's what we do. We purposefully don't try and stick ourselves in a box because we wouldn't want to stay in that box anyway.
I like that.
The things that we can't do at a Renaissance fair, we pull out and do at a science fiction convention.
Mm-hmm.
Or, and then we just get experimental whenever we feel like performing in the street.
Yep. Yeah.
That's very cool.
So the future of the Courtesan and the Cabin Boy, continue doing what we're doing, continue expanding the types of performances that we do. And it's like, if you're asking long-term goals, it's like we both have day jobs because, got to fund the rock and roll lifestyle somehow. And The ideal is to retire so that we can actually work the Ren Fair circuit on a regular basis
and make money just doing music.
Yeah. I mean, that would be the dream, but everybody knows the arts don't really pay. Yeah. So unfortunately, I like having a roof over my head and things like health insurance. So until such time as we find, ways to like not have to worry about things like that, we'll still be doing the day job and like, evenings, weekends and everything else in between wherever we can.
Yeah, the run fairs and the medieval stuff is fun, but running water is pretty sweet.
Right?
Yeah. Running hot water.
Yes. That's actually one of our requirements when we're like booked into a show. They're like, hey, so what do you need? It's like, well, okay, we have our day rate, plus we need to have travel expenses. Yeah, and as long as we have a place to stay that has hot running water, we're fine.
Most places like, oh, yeah, like you can just stay on our campgrounds for free. I'm like, no.
It's like, yeah, I don't know if you've seen the pictures of me when I'm all done up in my Renaissance fair garb and like the full makeup and everything. Yeah. Small woodland creatures do not make that happen in the morning.
You need to have a bathroom.
Hot running water does make that happen.
I mean, well, I could probably handle the rustic camping. Like this doesn't happen unless there's technology involved.
Yes, exactly. But I mean, we're always willing to work with people too. So it's like, it's not like we need to be put up at the Ritz. We've brought our own air mattress, blown it up. And the last place that we wound up staying was actually in a lesbian Wiccan temple.
Wow, that's interesting. Did they have hot running water?
Yes, they had hot running water. With lovely sapphic tiles all over the bathroom.
There was what now?
With lovely sapphic tiles all over the bathroom.
How about another song?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys want to hear another Krampus song, or do you want to hear an example of like the other work we do?
Irish drinking songs are always fun. It's a little out of season, but
we actually have a song that is the Irish drinking song.
Bust it out.
I was gonna say it's by Da Vinci's Notebook, and it's basically the happiest sad song you'll ever hear.
Hang on, I'm bringing it up. I don't know if I can make it any bigger.
As long as we get most of it on there, because I only memorize songs like right before we're going to a gig. A little bit bigger.
Okay, hang on. Can you hear me from over here? I'm gonna have.
I'm okay for this.
Wait a minute. No, I have the sheet music right here.
That you have the sheet music for. Okay.
Yes. I don't know where the Christmas music is.
Got it. All right.
I know where
I can get us started on this while he's pulling that out. Gather round, ye lads and lasses, set ye for a while, and hearken to me mournful tale about the Emerald Isle. Let's all raise our glasses high to friends and family gone, and lift their voices in another Irish drinking song. Consumption took me butter and me father got the box. Me brother drank the whiskey till he wound up in a box. Me other brother in the troubles met with his demise. Me sister has forever closed her Irish eyes. Now everybody's died, so until our tears are dried, we'll drink and drink and drink and drink, and then we'll drink some more. We'll dance and say goodbye until the early morning light. Then we'll throw up as up we up, and then go drinking once again. Teddy was killed in Kilkenny, and Claire, she died in Clare. Different Tipperary died out in the Derriere. Shannon jumped into the river, Shannon back into. Ernie fell into the urn, and Tom is in the tomb. Cleanliness is godliness, me Uncle Pat would sing. He broke his neck a-slipping on a bar of Irish Spring. Oh, Grady, he was 80, though his bride was just a pup. He died upon the honeymoon when she got his Irish up. Now everybody's died, so till our tears are dry, we'll drink and drink and drink and drink, and then we'll drink some more. We'll dance to say goodbye until the early morning light. Then we'll throw up, pass up, wake up, and then go drinking once again. Joe Murphy fought with Riley near the banks of Old Dunhee. He took out his shillelagh and he stabbed him
In fact, he's just a leper and his arms and legs are gone. When Baby Johnson broke his neck, it was a crying shame. He wasn't really Irish, but he went to Notre Dame. McNamara crossed the street and by a bus was hit, but he was just a Scotsman, so nobody gave a Now everybody's died, so till our tears are dry, we'll drink and drink and drink and drink, and then we'll drink some more. We'll dance and sing and fight until the early morning light. Then we'll throw up, pass out, wake up, and then go drinking once again. Me good Uncle Brendan tried to drive home from the bar. The road was up to meet him and he fell out of his car. Irony is what befell me great grand Uncle Sam. He choked upon the very last potato in the land. Connor lived in Ulstertown, he used to smuggle arms until the British killed him and cut off his lucky charms. Dear old Father Flanagan, who left the Lords and Boy, drunk on sacramental wine beneath the altar, boy. Now everybody's died, so till the tears are dry, we'll drink and drink and drink and drink, and then we'll drink some more. We'll dance and sing and fight until the early morning light. Then we'll throw up, pass out, wake up, and then go drinking once again. Someday soon I'll leave this world of pain and toil and sin. The Lord will take me by the hand to join all of me kin. Me only wish is when the Savior comes for me and you. He kills the cast of Riverdance and Michael Flatley too. Now everybody's died, so till the tears are dry, we'll drink and drink and drink and drink, and then we'll drink some more. We'll dance and sing and fight until the early morning light. Then we'll throw up, pass out, wake up, and then go drinking once again. Now everybody's died, so till the tears are dried, we'll drink and drink and drink and drink, and then we'll drink some more. We'll dance and sing and fight until the early morning light. Then we'll throw up, pass out, wake up, and then go drinking once again.
That was awesome.
That's an Irish drinking song by Da Vinci's Notebook. Yes.
That was awesome. Do you guys want to talk about the Krampus movie?
Oh yeah.
That is
I
something.
did have a question real quick from chat. Do you guys do filk?
Yes.
Oh God, yes.
I've never heard of it.
What's an example of filk?
An example of filk. Just so you know, the terminology of filk was a misprint in a convention program where it was supposed to be folk music, and somebody typed filk, and it stuck.
Yeah, originally when he asked this question in chat, I was assuming that he typoed.
I know.
Yeah,
I was like, folk? I didn't say it, but I was like, I'm just gonna ask him. Do you know what is it? So
Yes. So they actually have it where they do filk circles at conventions and things like that. And a lot of times it's people who have written their own music or derivatives off of traditional folk music or parodies on folk music.
Yeah, so like how the Krampus, our Krampus album is basically a Krampus filk. But we've got other songs like we do we're working on a version of Mad Tom of Bedlam that I rewrote to be Mad Harley of Arkham.
huh.
Yes, we have Molly Malone, the Cockles and Mussels song. We actually have a song called Well-Oiled Beef that goes to that tune.
Let's see here. And like some of the other side, I took I don't know if you're familiar with David Weber's Honor Verse, but I took the version of Spanish Ladies, the sea chanty, and I rewrote it to be set in that science fiction setting.
That universe, yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, we're very familiar with filk, actually.
Yeah, in fact, we're going to be performing at Capricorn. Are we?
Yes.
Yes, we're going to be performing at Capricorn in February.
Yes.
So that's another. It's a local Chicago science fiction convention, and the musical guest of honor is one of my friends, Carrie Dalby, and she's very much in the filk and comedy music scene. That's why she's the musical guest of honor, and I'll be doing a number with her there.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So filk is more than a typo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna totally look into that because I just learned about filk like 5 seconds ago.
I was with you right there.
Yes. Technically, yes, it started out as a typo, but now it is its own thing.
So now let's talk about the Krampus movie.
Yeah. So interesting side note, I watched the Krampus movie only because I wanted to see if they had any music that was similar to what we wrote for Krampus album.
Unfortunately, they did not.
Yes.
It wasn't even close.
No, the only song they did have a Carol of the Krampus of their own, but it was literally only played during the credits. And it sounded like a high school band and somebody who wasn't very creative with their lyrics. No, that's what you normally get, because most Krampus songs or Krampus albums are actually like by German death metal bands.
Ah,
Yeah.
so this is a thing, like Krampus albums.
So yeah, but yeah, it's like I watched the Krampus movie like last year.
Yep.
Just to make sure.
And I mean, there was no comedy Krampus music in there, so like we're good, we're safe. And we look, nobody else has done anything like this.
Yep.
Yeah, I was actually when I was putting together the video, I was going to mention some stuff about some pop culture Krampus things, and I just I made it vague, and I showed a picture from the Krampus movie, but I was looking and I couldn't find very much else. But there actually is a whole bunch of Krampus movies.
Now, yeah, like I'm looking right now. There's a whole bunch.
Like B-movie.
That's the thing. A lot of those B-movie Krampus movies are like even older than the mainstream one that came out a few years back.
Oh, interesting. I never looked at that.
I looked at them all. I was double checking so many different things because one, I was trying to see if anybody else had come up with a parody comedy album. Two, I wanted to see what is out there that's already Krampus. And, three, it's like, well, if any of these were things that caught on, maybe that would be good people for us to know.
Yeah, and, just doing research on what to sing about, because, like, we can only sing about throwing children in a sack so much.
Yes. But, so did you guys watch the movie? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So I found it kind of interesting that everything that I read in the lore, there was only a very slight bit of it there because, like, the Krampus that they had was very human.
Yeah, I'm looking at his picture right now to refresh my memory. I did just watch.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like an exaggerated, aged, like, dragged out human figure.
Yeah, right.
Like a goat, like demon.
His
like,
first scene.
That's it.
That first scene where he's running along the rooftops, that was kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Like, that was a little terrifying.
Yeah. But I never really quite understood why he had so many minions.
And is the snowman thing, like, that's not like Krampus lore, right? Because I was like, I didn't read that anywhere.
That was weird because they never really explained it very much either. I mean, at all.
And in the minions, if you would, I would think, lore says, Krampus had possibly in some situations they may have had followers or Perkton, if you would, that were supporters or helpers of Krampus and so forth. But yeah, I saw the movie a year ago too, and I wouldn't say I was disappointed, but I almost found some of it humorous.
It was humorous.
And then it was almost like a Krampus Christmas Vacation versus I pretend I'm going to be historical. I mean, if it weren't for the elderly grandma in there to give some history,
right,
wouldn't have a clue. They'd be like, "Oh, this must be brand new," and so forth. So,
yeah, I had very low expectations for the movie because it was so like the actors that were in it were all previously from comedies, and the stories are more in the horror area, like of the Krampus. So I kind of figured they were going to be dumbing down that aspect of it, and they kind of did. But in the end, I think my expectations were so low that I actually I enjoyed it pretty much.
That's why you have to go into things like that with zero expectation, so that even the slightest bit of this doesn't suck becomes pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, I mean, the effects were good. And I mean, I wasn't scared during the scene where he's running along the rooftops, but I thought
you were probably frightened.
A little bit.
You're like hiding.
I felt like it was just well filmed.
Yeah, and I don't make gingerbread man cookies anymore. For fear they will come running across my kitchen. But I think the dogs would get them first. But hey.
Did you guys see this video? I saw it last night and I couldn't stop laughing. It was these guys in a Christmas parade. They're dressed as gingerbread men, and this dog is like bitten on the back of the guy's leg, and so there's a gingerbread man running like this with a dog. Two other gingerbread men come out to rescue him. And then the dog turns on them, and then it's stuck to the ginger man's crotch. It was hilarious. You have to search it. Watch this after this. I watched it like 5 times.
That sounds delightful.
Okay, so what do we search? Ginger man crotch dog.
Ginger man dog crotch.
Yeah, right. Okay.
That sounds like it might be dangerous.
Right.
The gingerbread man thing reminded me of it. It was hilarious. I'm sorry.
Before there's any kids around.
Just look up without kids around.
What? Crotch is PG-13, right? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the word.
The word, yeah.
Take it back, guys. Take it back. I'm gonna see if I can find it though.
Hey, so Joe had a question he wanted to ask of the Krampus.
Hey, Andy, how's it going?
Good, Joe.
Hey, I love your mask. Can you tell
you.
us more about it?
The mask?
Yeah, what's it made of? How is it made?
It's a traditionally hand-carved mask, so it's literally made of all wood. There is... and let me take it off because now I can breathe. Again, hand-carved wood, hand-painted. We have authentic goat horns.
Oh, wow.
To it. The back is a goat pelt, if you would, which long hair, somewhat authentic, does match the costume. But yeah, like I said, I think there's even mask carvers in the U.S. now that you could commission, if you would, to make them. Like I said before, there is no right or wrong Krampus. Some will have, short, long tongues. There was actually a gentleman at the Krampus Nacht in Milwaukee who had a latex mask, if you would, that stretched over his whole head and had the horns integrated. It literally looked like it was his face. It just fit so tight and everything. So there's just a ton of different varieties. But yeah, this one is all hand carved wood. I did alter it slightly as far as the inside goes, because you wear this thing for a couple hours and it kind of gets to you. And everybody's a little different, so I went ahead and sanded the inside and added some foam to it and so forth, just to make it fit to your individuality and so forth. So I wouldn't trade this mask for the world.
Yeah. You said your wife got it?
Yeah. Yes, it was under the tree 3 years ago.
Yeah. Do you have any more? Are you gonna expand your collection, maybe?
I was thinking about it, but then I'm like, I get so many compliments on this one that I'm just gonna stick with it. I may do a different costume, a different coat. This is actually an old overcoat that I've had many years.
Oh.
And it just simply, you put it on like a jacket, snap it on. The fur is all real. Actually, a lot of the pelts I got at the Bristol Renaissance Fair a couple years ago. And I designed the coat, and I do have to give credit to my wife's cousin, Kate. She is a costume designer out in New York. She works for Jimmy Fallon, Saturday Night Live, Jim Henson Company. It was kind of a concept of mine, if you would. And we were going to fly her in, and she was going to attach everything. Her flight got canceled. I boxed everything up, UPS'd it out to her. A week later, I got this back. So again, I got to give a definite shout out to Kate. It was amazing, huge. I just got married in September.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And she actually made my wife's dress from scratch. It probably took a year. We did like a 50s rockabilly theme. We had the old cars, we had the tent, we had the live band and everything. So it was really cool.
That's awesome.
I wouldn't trade this mask for the world, because not only is it truly unique. I haven't seen one like it, even online. But again, just the symbolism of it, you know, the sentimental value. I wouldn't trade this mask for the world.
Where was that from? Like,
she bought it at a booth at the Chris Kindle Market in Chicago.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I've seen that booth before, and they still have more. And Ordo knows a little bit about the history of the mask.
No, like that. I want to speak to the authenticity of that mask, because until you mentioned that it's hand carved wood, I didn't realize it's hand carved wood. And I sat next to you in that photo shoot. I thought it was like vinyl or something foam or handcrafted. I didn't realize it was wood.
Yes.
And like, I mean, when we were during the photo shoot, our photographer, he thought that like that you had that it was makeup that was applied to around your eyes too. But like, no, that's just a carved wood mask that you throw on your head. You don't need any additional appliance to put it on. And I mean, it just looks good. You can actually see your real eyes in it, and it looks like something that was carved for your face.
Like I said, it's truly, it would be like a handmade piece of furniture, basically. You know, no two will ever be alike. You know, it's like musicians, you know, no two will ever be alike.
Exactly. Well, and I saw at the Krampus booth at the Chris Kindle Market, they have some similar to yours, but they're not exactly the same. Because like you said, hand carved, they're not. But they also, the cheapest of them had a price tag of over $750.
So your wife loves you very, very much.
Very much, right?
They are not cheap.
No, they are not cheap.
But for the quality, yeah.
But come on, look at the resemblance. Come on, I'm worth it. You know.
Have any of you guys ever been to Burning Man? Because when I talk to you guys, it seems like right up all of your alleys.
I dated a burner briefly, and I've been to Lakes of Fire, which is a regional burn
I've been there.
in Michigan. But I'm not a burner myself. I'm burner adjacent. That's about it.
Yeah, the closest we get to that is we're part of the Full Moon Jam group.
The Full Moon Fire Jam, and once a month during the warmer seasons, the fire performers just gather there and perform for free, and people just come there, and a lot of people there are burners too.
Yeah, I've been there a few times. I haven't been to Burning Man since 2007, so it's been a while. But
so you're a burner. Are you a burner, Joe?
I went in 2006 and 2007, but I haven't been since. Yeah, with that, you heard of the Freak Easy?
Yes.
Chicago? Yeah,
we know a few performers who do that too.
That's awesome. Yeah, I thought maybe when I saw the fire spinning, you know, there would be a connection there.
Well, and it's interesting just because we've been around a lot of people, and even I don't know if you're familiar with DJ Fool, A.E. Shapira, also known as Jane the Fool. She did Jane the Fool at Bristol for many, many, many years. She was actually my director for the street cast when I performed at Bristol. And she went to Burning Man one year because she was doing online DJing through Ideal Club World, which is now defunct. But she got invited by friends who were also DJs on that station to marry them out at Burning Man. And it was the first time she was going to Burning Man. And it was that year when the torrential rains were so bad that they were telling people, don't come, don't come. And but you know, she was there to officiate a wedding, and she went, and the way she described it was, yes, I went, and the desert tried to kill me, and I'm good. I'm never going back.
And see, with me, you know, Burning Man, you know, I'm not familiar with it, but I'm thinking fire, lots of fur, combination. So,
well, it's also a lot about building costumes and stuff. So, you talked about building your bottom part.
Yeah, and you know, talking about festivals and events and so forth. The group out of Milwaukee, a good friend of mine here, Scott, he's actually known as the Chicago Krampus. Met him at a lot of events. We've become really good friends. He's local here. We're really thinking about, we got to get this going a lot earlier. We have done, with Milwaukee, I've done the German Fest parade, which goes down the lakefront up at the Summerfest grounds. We did that last year. I actually have a golf cart that I put horns and fur on. It's basically a Krampus cart.
That's awesome.
St. Nicholas drives the cart. It really doesn't chase Krampus, but I try and stay out of the way. That was huge. That was well received up there. Yeah, we just want to do a bunch more events. Get a jump on it early. I guess there's a Oddities convention coming up in the Odeum in Villa Park in July. So I'd like to do that again, just to kind of set the stage for Krampus early. I did, they had a Krampus Curiosities and Oddities convention in Lombard 2 weekends ago. It was at the Brower House, a large bar, venue.
I like that place. The
Hardcore Hearst Club enlisted me, so I built a cage, if you would, out of PVC pipe and put it out there so people could come take selfies, use their cell phone, take pictures with Krampus, this and that. It was free. I won't tell you how much I walked away with tips, but it's probably more than a good day at work. I just put a tip jar out there. Hey, we artists do have to survive. But yeah, it was huge. It was really, really huge. So, we're really looking forward to ramping up and getting into a lot more stuff this coming year and so forth, with a lot of different groups, a lot of, hey, we're Krampus. We got a network, just like
Did we lose Suzanne and Ordo real quick? Huh?
Oh, I think we did.
We'll have to keep going.
They tripped over the cord, so.
They might have.
So while I'm on it, I'll just kind of give a quick rundown. Yeah, we did the Mount Prospect 4th of July parade. A lot of people, hey, Krampus. The judges are kind of like, ooh, you're here? Okay. Well, for candy, typically parades, you throw out candy, right, as you go along the parade route. Yeah, I bought like 1,000 atomic fireballs.
Nice.
Krampus, demonic, something hot, let's go for it. We did the German Fest in Milwaukee. That's a year-round, every year event. It's just huge. They have a parade up there. Milwaukee's got huge German roots. It's great. I did that Oddities convention. Last weekend, I supported my friend, again, Scott from Chicago Krampus. He appears every weekend in December on Saturday at the Hofbrauhaus in Rosemont. And he does a Krampus versus St. Nicholas. And this was the first year he actually invited us. So 3 people from Milwaukee actually came down, and we just roamed the restaurant, and it was a huge, huge event. And again,
what's the versus part? Is there like a fight?
Not really. We go around and, well, we try not to beat too many people, but St. Nicholas obviously plays the good part. So he went and he had his little sack, if you would, and he gives the little, the little gold chocolate coins. He gives those to the kids at the tables and so forth. So it's just, again, huge, huge photo opportunities. I got to give credit to Scott, to the Hofbrauhaus. They're really, really good there. I went to D-Men, used to be Dodderman Food Truck, D-Men Tap on Belmont, I believe it is, near the Kennedy. They opened up a restaurant. They had a Krampus night last Thursday, Friday, stuff like that. So that was kind of cool. I mentioned the Arts in the Dark, the Haunted on Halstead, Ren Fair. So again, it's
hello.
just been huge. It's been snowballing ever since. So I wish it would be a year-round thing, but Krampus has to take a break too once in a while.
So Andy, I take it you have German roots?
Actually, I am probably, when you ask somebody what's your heritage, and they'll say, oh, I'm, half this, half that, whatever. I'm probably about a quarter German.
Okay.
Quarter Polish and half Lithuanian. So, I'm not too far, but, my mom is nuts, She says, "You
So
do
it didn't really have anything to do with your Krampus fascination?
I more or less got into it just because of my interest in it. You know, it just intrigued me, and yeah, let's go for it. You know,
cool.
Let's go for it.
So I see we got Suzanne back.
We did. Welcome back.
Hi. Yeah, Ordo's trying to fix the internet connection on the computer. It kind of took a hard dive.
You know what I say? Technology.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, if anybody's interested, any of the viewers, subscribers, again, I know we've met through Suzanne and Ordo, but Northern Illinois Krampus has a Facebook page. Northern Illinois Krampus is on Instagram. Northern Illinois Krampus is on Twitter. Just look me up. Actually, Northern Illinois, NOIL Krampus.com. I do have a web page, a website. So if anybody needs more information, wants an appearance, just reach out and we'll make it happen. Absolutely.
Good. There
it is.
Oh.
Sorry. Not my fault.
I've been there before.
Yeah, we should, and then we can throw a link in the description as well for people who watch it at a later point.
Yeah, I just shared the Facebook link and the web address into the chat, and yeah, we'll put it in the description of the video.
There you go.
And again, thanks to you guys for doing this segment. It was huge. Actually, last Saturday, a gentleman from WDCB, it's a public radio station from the College of DuPage, came to the house and did an interview.
Oh, fun.
Came across me, and we spent 20 minutes just standing around talking about Krampus and so forth. So I did mention some of the appearances. I mentioned Suzanne and Ordo, so I don't know if he actually reached out to them because they got some awesome music. So you might want it for lead-ins and so forth. So
the shout out.
He does.
I appreciate the shout out.
He does a show on Sunday mornings called First Light. So it should actually be live this Sunday morning at 7 a.m. And if you don't want to get up that early, then it'll obviously be available streaming later on the web. But yeah, College of DuPage. His name is Brian O'Keefe. So a huge shout out to him.
So I'm sorry. Did you?
Go ahead. You go.
I was just gonna ask. Where's your next appearance, Andy? Where are you gonna be next?
Where do you live?
I live in California.
Oh. Well, if you buy a ticket, so
I know. I guess I gotta go there. I know. I got a lot of work to do I gotta go over there and meet people.
Yeah, come on out. We'll go out to get some cheese curds in Milwaukee and hang out with the Germans.
Yeah, absolutely. Really, there's nothing on the calendar after tonight as far as local, because again, it's more of an early December type thing.
Oh, because once you get too close to Christmas, then
Krampus Nacht and stuff like that. Krampus Lauf. The Krampus parades. So yeah, it's kind of dying down, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. Give me time to touch up the costume and get all ready, and you're up for next year.
Like the interesting that I've noticed thing is like you get the haunted houses in October, but then they want to keep going with the haunted houses. So what I've seen here in the area is I've seen a Krampus themed haunted house in December.
I saw that. Yep.
And then,
good idea.
And then to continue stretching it out, I've even seen in February a Valentine's Day themed haunted house.
Interesting.
Wow, so you guys almost have haunted houses year round over there.
We're trying.
Yeah, there's some people who wouldn't object to that. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we like the things that I saw the benefit of doing a Krampus album is that we could start pitching it. We pull out our Krampus music in September to rehearse it. October rolls around because you can shoehorn Krampus into Halloween. And then, we can go all the way to about maybe, January. And then after that point, people are just like, Christmas, come on.
They're like, no, January. Christmas for a little bit. And then you give it a couple months and then you can have Christmas again.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Krampus songs, We were wondering if you might want to revisit the first song you did.
Okay.
Because there wasn't so many people around for that one.
Oh, sure. We can do that again.
Yep. This one was actually one that Ordo wrote because he enjoyed this particular Christmas song a great deal. I had never heard of it.
Yeah, not too many people have heard of the song Christmas Island. I know Jimmy Buffett does a cover of it. I think it was the Andrews sisters who did it or made it well known. But there's a Jimmy Buffett version. And so, I thought, like, where does Krampus bring the children? I'm like, it isn't an island paradise. Naughty children spend Christmas on Krampus Island. Well, bad boys and girls know that is where they'll go. Naughty children spend Christmas on Krampus Island. While good girls and boys get toys and play in the snow. And if you stay up late, like the auntie kids do, then Krampus will bust in and won't leave till he has snatched you. If you ever spend Christmas on Krampus Island, you'll regret your stray, 'cause every day old Krampus will beat you. And if you stay up late, like the auntie kids do, then Krampus will bust in and won't leave till he has snatched you. If you ever spend Christmas on Krampus Island, you'll regret your stray, 'cause every day old Krampus will beat you. You'll regret your stray, 'cause every day old Krampus will beat you.
Awesome.
And again, we have a whole album of Krampus carols. You can find us on Bandcamp.
Yep. You can find us on Facebook, the Courtesan and the Cabin Boy. Also, just Courtesan Cabin Boy. We're also on Twitter. Bandcamp is the Courtesan The Cabin Boy. And if you really like fun music and also just like really enjoy dank memes, definitely check us out on the Facebook page, because this one,
Lord.
yeah, that one, he's always posting something, and it's usually got something to do with music, the medieval Renaissance, D&D, or Star Wars.
Yeah, being nerdy in general. Music nerds.
Well, Jess, you want to bring us out? I think it's been a great show.
I want to. Well, first I want to thank Andy for coming on. I want to thank Susan and Ordo for spending time and singing with us tonight. Don't forget to check out the links in the description to check out the Northern Illinois Krampus and the Courtesan and the Cabin Boy. And from Eric and Joe and me, thank you for watching Strange Tales. We'll catch you next time. Merry Christmas.
For joining us, everybody. Stay strange.
Yay.
Merry Christmas. Bye.